You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Fontini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davies, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
You're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio, hosted by Steve Jenny and his satanic assistant, Alex Montini, both of whom can't go into churches without vomiting.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro.
Oh, feedback. We're getting feedback now. Fuck. Fuck.
It's okay. We're good on YouTube.
It's not. No.
I hear feedback.
We get way too much feedback here. I can't go. What the fuck? Okay, there it goes.
Stop.
And here we are. Thank you for joining us tonight. Nocturnal Frequency Radio, live. Little off track here because there seems to be a multi-track happening. How you doing, Alex?
Pretty good. How are you?
What was that? I got a little feedback there. What?
Pretty good.
What's new?
Nothing.
Oh.
Add that to the list.
I had to force
Nothing.
you to say it. I didn't want any fake outs on that. I wanted an actual not much.
Wow.
For the books. We got to add to the collage.
The collage part 5.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And tonight we have our good friend Gareth Davies from the Mindset Podcast with us.
Yes. Hey guys, how's it going? Great to be back on board.
Good. You know, it's funny. I was just going through the internet archives, if you will, and it's funny. I finally found the first episode you were on the show. What was it? 2014, I believe it was.
Ah, all right, okay. That
2014
was, Dark Discussions thing, I believe.
Yeah, it was. You were on the show with a friend, Jeremy Webster, who's out of oh God, where is he located? Out of the Northeast somewhere. Uh-huh. And he had a paranormal outfit or something. Anyways, yeah, it was sort of like a Dark Discussions, and you were on for the very first time. I've listened to some of it. It's been a while. I want to sit down and listen to the whole thing again. It's interesting to sort of hear, you know, the interaction, you know, after so many years, how different things are now. And it's like you're a good friend of the show now. You've been on the show, you know, and on your show. And
I obviously I haven't listened to that show, but I'm guessing that I was very serious on it.
You were extremely serious.
And may I add, Gareth, sorry to say this, but you had a lot more hair.
Hey, come on, man.
How do we know he had a lot more hair?
Yeah, how do you know?
The picture, the pictures, you know. Hey, come on, you're talking to two bald guys here. Come on. But look at this, Steve.
I'm catching up. What is that? A USB key?
Yes. Guess what's on?
Got all the episode on it.
These are all 116 episodes from BTR on here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow, all 116.
It's about 116 episode, I think.
Okay, so we're missing 20 episodes.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Okay. So, and I managed to find some more live stream. I got the live stream episodes.
You can archive everything.
Yeah, everything's archived, man. It's going to be archived.
Let me ask you guys, what are you consuming this evening? What are you drinking?
Our usual 40 Creek whiskey.
Whiskey. And that's
let's see how good Gareth's French is.
Fade du Bois Rev.
I don't know. It's out of Montreal, Quebec.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Yeah.
I have. Let's see how good my English is. I got some 805.
Of course, 805. Firestone.
Exactly.
And, you know, it sucks, man. This not being able to go over the border is killing me.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they can't. They won't let you. All this COVID nonsense still fucking everyone up. Can't do nothing.
But
I'm gonna do a pour for the people watching.
Well, if somebody wants to see the color, look at that.
Wow, that's pretty thick.
I mean, look at the color of Gareth's beer there,
Uh-huh.
and look at mine, and look at the color of Alex's drink.
Yeah. Did you know what, Steve? Yours looks like orange juice.
OJ, it's dude, it is tropical.
It looks like you're drinking orange juice.
It's tropical, man. It's good stuff. Anyways, here we'll have a virtual cheers, guys.
Hang on. Let me just top it up. 'Cause I gotta fill up so I can have a real pint.
A real pint.
So it's really full of there we go. Okay. All right, ready?
All right, here we go, guys.
There you go.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
No, Alex, you gotta take a sip. Come on. Oh yeah. So, anyways, yeah.
That's good.
So what's new in the land of the Mindset podcast?
Oh
universe?
Man, we did a podcast this morning. Well, it was this morning for me. For the other guys who are in the UK, it was late afternoon, and we talked about. Oh man, I'll tell you some of the topics right now. I got them written down here, just to see what we talked about. So we talked about, has conspiracy theory gone mainstream? We talked about how culture and society is a fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Adam Curtis's new documentary, which I just downloaded today. I haven't watched yet. We talked about social engineering in the 20th century. We talked about how people forget the news. We hope. Then we got a little controversial. And we talked about the fact that white people only exist in North America. Then we talked about media race swapping. You know, they're gender and race swapping people in things. And then we talked about the Mars lander from last week and ET revelations. So tune in, mindsetcentral.com.
Yeah,
That the extra testicle.
Yes, exactly.
I'm really intrigued with this new NASA Mars rover.
Uh-huh.
You know, the helicopter bit and all that.
Yeah, the helicopter, yeah.
They haven't launched that yet, have they?
No, not yet.
That I think that would be really intriguing to see the Mars landscape from a whole different perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. It's like a little drone. They're going to fly around and
now let's hope, keep your fingers crossed, this thing's going to work.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll work.
Yeah.
Considering that it's all being beamed from a soundstage in Arizona, it should be fine. And if it doesn't, we'll just have an engineer just walk out and fix it.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just change the filters on the background.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fascinating though, and you know, it's interesting that there's a Chinese rover up there too.
Yeah, they're all going over there now, and one of the theories that we've been throwing around is that now that space exploration is moving out into other states, like other countries, other nation states, and soon private business, it's going to become increasingly difficult to keep the lid on the extraterrestrial artifacts on the moon, on Mars, and our visitations.
Yeah, I think you're really going to see stuff ramp up, and I think it's going to be really intriguing to see what comes.
Can I make a prediction?
Absolutely.
Should we be recording this for prosperity reasons?
Oh wait a sec. We're not recording. This is come on.
Isn't it going on YouTube? I thought YouTube will record it.
YouTube will record it.
We're just Skype. We're in a Skype bubble here. Sorry, guys.
My prediction is that this.
Hold on. Tune into the second half for the. No, go ahead.
There you go. And the winner is. Dun, 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 dun. Is that this lander, this new rover, will definitively find evidence of life on Mars.
Okay, so when you say life, though, you know, expand.
Well, it's going to be microbial, right?
Of course, yeah. Okay.
Well, no, wait, hang on. Pump the brakes there, Steve.
Yep.
it's going to be microbial. Under the surface, that's That's what they're going to announce, because that's something that the general public can handle. They can,
Well, of course, yeah.
They'll eat that up. Okay, and then they go on with their lives. But the first step towards disclosure has then been made, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
They've proved then that, yes, life does exist off the Earth. And then slowly over the next 10, 20 years, we're going to see the rollout of all the other stuff. But this is going to be the mission that does it. You wait and see.
So boldly go with another prediction. When do you think, roughly what year, do you think we'll see the very first manned Mars mission?
Probably by the end of the decade.
You think so?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
give
less than
or
10 years.
Give or take a year or two, but probably around 2030, something like that. I'm guessing.
What do you think, Alex? What do you think?
This is what I got to say, by the way.
Roughly what year?
I got this recorded.
Do you think we'll see the very first manned Mars mission?
Well, probably
if you're smart enough, Alex, you could have edited that to make it sound like something else.
Yeah, I'll work on that next time. But the first, so your question is the first manned exploration to Mars?
Yeah. When will that happen?
Well, if you go by what Elon Musk says, we'll be there within a couple of years.
Did you even have to mention that guy?
Oh, you know what? I should add this. I said 2030-ish. We should have done. We should have added. We should say the first public manned mission to Mars. Because privately, we've been there a while. Now, I know that sounds insane. I know it sounds crazy.
Come on. Have you not seen the footage that people have been putting up on YouTube? Come on.
No, I mean it sounds madness, right? But there is a secret space program. We
do live in a mad world. You know that, right?
Oh, big time. Yeah. Upside down, inside out. Tears for Fears got it right. Mad world.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so the first public manned space flight to Mars will be around 2030.
So the first public. Okay, so what you're saying is we already have human beings on the Mars landscape.
Right.
So let me guess. They're the ones that are working the cameras for the rovers right now, right? So is that what you're saying?
Not quite.
And the lighting on the sound stage.
No, that's in Arizona, right?
That's Arizona.
That's Arizona. You're thinking of the drone shots in Arizona.
I mean, we could go even further by saying, look, come on, 2001,
the Space Odyssey.
Yeah. The moon, it never happened.
The monolith. Oh yeah. The landing on the landing on the moon happened. Yeah. There's no question, it happened.
So what do you think?
The thing that everyone gets wrong is that thinking that the missions to the moon stopped. That's the part that's wrong.
Yeah. Because they didn't want too much getting out there. I mean, let's face it. Why have they not gone back to the moon?
Well, they have, just not publicly.
Right. So I guess the question should be amended, saying why haven't they gone back to the moon publicly?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, is it really that hard? It's not, obviously, to make our way to the moon. I mean,
well, using chemical rockets and stuff. Yeah, that's no joke. That's you're literally strapping yourself on the back of a bomb, and long. That's no joke. That's not easy. That's hard. But I think they have other ways to do it now.
Come on, look at if Tesla can make the cars that they're making with 17 movable parts, I think it is.
Something like that.
In total?
Yeah.
Totally animated Yeah, totally
Automated.
automated. Sorry, animated. Automated facility. I mean, it's just insane looking at the production process of a Tesla vehicle. It's just insane.
Yeah, I mean, I think they want to get to the point where, when you buy a car, you never have to open the hood. It's like welded shut, and when it stops working, you just get a new one.
Well, it's pretty much like that now, anyways.
Yeah,
it's like anything in it. Everything's like it's pretty much pretty much a throwaway society.
Yeah, when it breaks, you throw it out and go buy a new one. Whereas back in the day, if it broke, you'd get it fixed, or you'd fix it yourself.
Well, yeah, you look at phones. My phone doesn't charge anymore. The cord doesn't fit in there. I'm gonna get a new phone. Instead of taking it into the Apple store or whatever and say, oh look, it just needs to be tightened.
Replace the battery or something. Yeah,
it just needs to be tightened. The port's just loose or whatever.
You should have been more gentle. Maybe use some lube.
You're holding it wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Apple does sell lube. You know that, right?
Apple lube.
Apple lube for your cell phones, for your iPhones. They get the lube there.
Does it even smell like apples?
No, it's cinnamon, actually.
It smells like rotten apples.
Rotten apples.
By the way, folks, anybody who's watching the YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and like the show and the channel.
Yeah, exactly. And, okay, so we are going to take a break here in a sec. We tend to forget now that we do the YouTube simulcast. We tend to forget about those breaks. The breaks. But I want to get before we go, what are your thoughts about this Antarctic thing here? Where is it a British research group that were drilling through the shelf, the shell?
Yeah, where they found some
3,000. What was it? 3,000 feet.
That was half a mile, I think.
Yeah,
half a mile down. They found some.
What did they find?
Well, they found some like microbes. Either that they'd never seen before, or they thought were extinct.
Well, one of them was I forget the name, but this particular pod or whatever it's called, it basically is what we were all at one time. What life?
It's something that should not exist any longer, but somehow it is. Now let me ask you this: they found the bacteria. Was it like fossilized, or was it alive, or
alive? It's alive. Yeah,
it's just frozen.
So basically, they're saying it's the beginning stage of life, of our life here on Earth. They were there. They're the reason evolution or whatever else started. Whatever started. It's really
from my perspective, it's real easy. It's real interesting that this story came out right when the Mars lander came out. Also, it's as if they're kind of planting the seeds for a future news revelation, if you know what I mean.
Oh, exactly. It's interesting. I mean, you definitely don't. When people think of stories such as this, they tend to think, well, we've seen it all here. We know all, about everything about the Earth and whatnot. But there are some really mysterious places still left here,
sure.
And Antarctic is definitely one of the most intriguing places, I think.
Yeah,
that holds a lot of secrets that we have no idea about.
Yeah, there was a great documentary that I watched about 6 months ago by Linda Moulton Howe, and it's called Antarctica, surprisingly. And it's basically she came into contact with two military personnel, like Green Berets or Special Forces, and they'd since retired, and they told some stories about what they found when they were stationed in Antarctica in the 1980s.
Yeah.
And it's pretty amazing if it's true. It's pretty amazing. They basically found an alien base buried under the ice.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few sources. Yeah.
And that's why Antarctica is kind of off limits and so on, and why there's a large military presence there.
Well, wasn't it the Russians that first discovered this? I believe, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. It might have been. I'm not 100%. But it's a fascinating documentary. If you or the listeners check it out, do a search for just Linda Moulton Howe Antarctica. It's like 65 minutes. It's just over a little bit over an hour long, but it's intriguing.
Where's that? Is it on any of the streaming services or YouTube or?
I think it's on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
I think it's on Prime.
She
watch, though.
She's since passed, hasn't she?
No. She's still.
Who am I thinking of?
You're thinking of Rosemary Ellen Galley.
Sorry, I'm thinking of another coast to coast crony.
Yeah.
Well,
she was investigating ghosts, right?
Yeah.
It's like, hey, she was on the other foot, Rosemary.
Yeah. So I shouldn't say crony. I mean regular.
Yes. Yeah, regular.
That would make Gareth. That would make Gareth our crony.
I'm a crony.
He's our drinking buddy.
That's right.
The virtual drinks. Cheers.
It's we're just a bunch of guys sitting in a virtual bar here having a few drinks, and talking.
It pretty much is that, when I do live streams and get together with people and we're just hanging out. It's very much like that, Steve. It's just like we're doing it on the internet when. If we didn't have all this COVID stuff, we'd be sitting around a table in a bar somewhere doing it. It's still a lot of fun.
That's what I miss. I miss hanging out in the bar and just having these kinds of conversation with people.
And I mean, doing this. There's one thing I really enjoy too. Is I really enjoy doing this live on location. Yeah, we've done the show a couple times like that, and I really enjoy doing it. You do it in front of a live audience. It's great.
It's awesome. Yeah. That must be great.
And we had people coming up to us on the show after the fact, asking for our autographs.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, we actually did.
Cool.
Guy up from India.
One guy from India.
Yeah.
From India, of all places. Oh yeah, I listen to your show all the time. Can I get your autograph? Well, cool. Sure.
That's amazing. That's very
intriguing. Okay, so we're going to take a break. Look, guys, follow us. If you're not following us on any of the social platforms, come on, please. Twitter is at Dark Discussions. Facebook.com/Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Instagram, Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Of course, here, please, if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, please, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, like the show. The more the likes, the more attention they get, then we absolutely appreciate, love it. And of course, we have a Teespring store with some swag there. If you can support the show by picking up a T-shirt or a hoodie or whatever else. That's at teespring.com, right?
Yep.
Just search Nocturnal Frequency Radio.
They changed name recently.
Have they?
Yeah, they're called Spring now.
Spring?
Not Teespring?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you can still go and type in the URL teespring.com and it'll
still take
redirect you.
Yeah, it still takes.
But it's now just called Spring.
Spring.
I'm pretty sure.
Spring is, I think they do mattresses now too, right?
Maybe.
Probably.
They supply a lot of the mattresses in the adult entertainment industry.
Adult entertainment. Ooh.
Hence the Teespring.
Teespring. All right. We're going to take a break here. When we come back, more with our friend Gareth Davies of the Mindset Podcast and much more. Hold tight. We'll be right back.
is Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
Did you hear that? Sounded like a scream.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, I heard that way.
And as you can see, I don't know what kind of bone this is. It's rather big. If it's a deer bone, an animal bone, hopefully it's an animal bone and not human. But I think we're gonna have to report this.
This is Keith Age, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davies, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all...
Welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here, live on the New Visions Radio Network.
It's on the Count Dracula. Or Dracula. Chocula. Remember Count Chocula?
Thanks a lot. I lost my train of thought. Now I'm going to have to change my voice.
There you go. Change it.
And, of course, on our YouTube channel, we're live streaming, simulcasting, whatever you want to call it, where you can see our ugly mugs.
Yep, ugly.
Yeah. Cheers. I'm trying to go over to Alex, and then I go to Gareth. This is fun. I'd rather do this in person, guys.
I know.
That'll make life easier.
One day.
Yeah. One day we will be broadcasting live on location
in Gareth's bedroom.
There you go.
In some shoddy pub.
Shoddy pub, yeah.
Shoddy pub, having a few and talking about the Highgate. Talking about the Highgate vampire.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
How can we not talk about the Highgate vampire when the three of us get together?
Yeah. We'll even invite Sean to come hang with us.
Yeah. Oh, Sean. What,
it's not like we haven't tried.
He doesn't want to drop off the end of the world. He's constantly, he's just like, wow.
He's like a dog with a bone.
Yeah.
He will not give it up.
No, he won't give it up. Just keeps going on.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the latest? Latest was something about David's not really dead, or something like that. I don't know. There's some, I don't know, something going on.
Maybe he's undead.
Maybe he Manchester is trying to find where his body is, and needs to stake that too, just to make sure he's really dead.
Yes, I have to stake the corporeal form and then take some panchromatic stills with my camera. Have you noticed he talks like that? He uses all these crazy ass words.
I couldn't listen to his, interviews.
Of the true dead. He's out of his mind. But I mean, even though he's a mental case, he's incredibly entertaining. I mean, let's be honest. He really is. Even though he's not 100% in the head, but he's incredibly. I could listen to him talk all day because it's great.
Well, like I said, one of the first interviews I remember, radio interview or whatever with him, internet interview, whatever, was with Unknown World of Unknown or something like that. I can't remember. A couple of Christian guys.
Oh,
and talking about
probably ate that shit up.
Oh yeah, they're you know, I used to listen to the show all the time, and you know, from you could tell they're not heavy Christians, but they're Christians, practicing Christians, whatever, and you know, talking about the paranormal. I mean, that's what the show was about, paranormal. And then, you know, I think that's where I first heard about the Highgate vampire, and you know, of course, and then, you know, with David. Sean Manchester. And I'm listening to this shit and I'm going, wow, this is pretty crazy. I want to know more about it. You know, and yeah, you're right. He is quite entertaining.
Oh yeah, he's great. Very entertaining.
You know, and it's too bad he doesn't do interviews anymore though.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I think the vibe I get, and of course I could be wrong, this is just my speculation, but the vibe I get is that he would love to be doing interviews. He would love it. But he won't, because he knows that the ship has sailed as far as him telling the truth. And he knows that any interview he's going to go on, except it's unless it's some rabid religious mental case interview, they're going to rip him a new one, and they're going to ask him some very difficult questions and make him look foolish. But I think ultimately, I think he would love it. He'd love to be doing interviews again.
Well, you know, I was on a show a few years ago, and the host of the radio show was Richard Serrett, who is well known. He's been he's on Coast, right, for a while. He covers Coast to Coast every once in a while. I don't know if he still does. Anyways, he had a local radio show here in TL, and I remember being on his show, and I remember corresponding with him after, and he had went out and did a special interview with Sean Manchester on location, Sean's house or something like that. I can't remember. And you know, I remember. I don't know if you remember. I'm sure you remember this, Alex. When we had Richard Serrett on the show to talk about that interview with Sean Manchester, and of course, we invited David Ferrant on because you know, we wanted Richard Serrett to hear the other side of the coin, if you will. Oh, so
was he like a believer of Manchester's story then, and he wasn't familiar with Ferrant?
He was familiar with Ferrant, but he wasn't as familiar as he was with Sean Manchester.
Okay.
So obviously the interview was with Sean Manchester, and so on and so on, and you know, he was very welcoming to his sort of, you know, views on you know, it being a Hollywood vampire.
Right.
And I'm not sure if Richard really bought into it or not. I don't know. I don't think I really, you know, he was going to say yes or no about it. But I think Sean Manchester did warn Richard Serrett about David Ferrant.
Surprise, surprise.
You know, so when we had him on, you know, Richard, I want you to meet our good friend David Ferrant. And you know, Richard, oh yeah, I know, I'm aware of David, you know, and his work with, you know, the Highgate vampire and all this kind of stuff, and you know, and so we started interviewing him about the interview with Sean Manchester, because of course Sean Manchester wouldn't come on the show. We've invited him a million times, but he'd never come on the show. And it was just funny. You know, we got to pull the interview up one of these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, David is literally correcting, you know, from, you know, story, David's the storyline as, you know, of course, there's that ongoing dispute between the two of them, not going anymore on. Well, actually, it still
it kind of is.
It still is kind of.
It still is. As crazy as it sounds.
Yeah. Sadly, David's no longer with us, but for some reason, it's still going on. And but I thought it would be a unique opportunity to sort of, we can't get the two of them in the studio together, but we can get somebody who interviewed him freshly on a personal level from his home, and bring him on to sort of correspond Sean Mancher's sort of aspect and views on the that side of the coin, if you will.
Yeah.
So it was rather interesting, even though Sean Manchester wasn't with us. I did get a hint of at times that Richard Serra was kind of defending Sean Manchester with certain aspects, but others you can tell he was holding back because he didn't want to be sort of thrown into the fire.
Yeah.
He didn't want to have that, that evil cabal backlash that we all had.
Yeah.
Well, it's awkward when, I'm a fan of the story, of the complete story, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fan of Manchester's story. I'm a fan of David's story. I like all of it. The only difference is that I believe David's story, and I think Manchester's story is a fabrication. But even though I think it's bullshit, I still love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I hear you, man. I hear you. I agree. I agree. Like I said, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But right off the bat, because I first off the bat invited Sean Manchester on the show. In the very beginning. He would not come on the show.
Did he decline? Did he say no, or did he not respond?
He didn't respond. He didn't respond at all. I reached out a few times, did not respond. So I took it as he doesn't give a shit. So fine, whatever.
Right.
The next course of action was okay. In fact, I didn't even know who David Ferrant was, to be honest. Okay. Because like I said, I was new. I was new to this Highgate vampire scene. And then I started, hearing about David Ferrant. I looked more into it, and who's this David Ferrant character? And I'm gonna have to reach out to him. See, where can I find him? And funny enough, I found him on Facebook of all places. And I reached out to him on Facebook, and
I bet he said yes immediately.
No, he didn't.
Oh, really?
No, he was very reserved because he was afraid that I was working for Sean Manchester. He wanted to make sure that I was not one of Manchester's minions, if you will,
right?
And that he could trust me, and it's a legitimate request and all that kind of stuff. So I said, David, here's my number. Give me a call, or if you want, I can call you, and we could talk and sort of work this out, sort of thing.
Right.
And then the next thing you know, David gave me his number. I called him. We talked for over 2 hours on the phone, and everything just worked its way out, no problem.
Yeah, David was a genuine good guy.
Yeah.
You know what? You guys have probably experienced when you meet someone for the first time, you get a vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get a feeling like, this guy is cool, or this guy, he might be a bit of an asshole. But you get a feeling. Now, as you get to know that person, obviously your vibe can be wrong. Like, I've met people and disliked them immediately. And then when I've gotten to know them, I'm like, you know what? I was wrong. This is a good guy, right? But there's also been times where I've disliked them immediately, and I've been right. So it can go either way.
Oh yeah.
But with David, I got nothing but good, positive vibes from him. And when I met him, he was the nicest guy. He was genuine. Like, he just seemed like a genuinely good guy. Like, no fucking around.
Yeah. He was. And, it's funny because I really, really wish that we were able to pull off that conference, Alex.
Oh yeah, the symposium.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't pull that off because
were you invited to go, or were you planning on going?
Yeah. I was invited, but
dude, we would have met. We would have been there together. It would have been great.
I know, couldn't do it though, man. But no, we were having a conference here in October of 2000, what was it, 2010? 2000,
yeah, somewhere around
15.
Was this,
not the symposium. It was
okay.
This is before the symposium. I think it was 2012.
Yeah, this is something that Steve was more or less trying to put together.
Oh, did you? And you invited David?
Via Skype.
Ah, right, okay.
Right, because he, his health and everything else,
he wouldn't travel. Yeah.
He wouldn't be able to travel. So I said, David, let's work it out where we'll have a live feed via Skype, and you could sort of do a Q&A and whatever else via Skype. It was an easy thing to pull off. Right. We had a lot of guests. Who else? We had
Justin.
Justin was going to come up, and be a part of the show. My good friend Stephen Ramolo, who directed who was the man behind the series Beyond. I don't know if you've seen Beyond.
I have not.
If you can, check that out. It's a really cool series on the paranormal. I don't know what it's available on down there.
Is it on streaming or YouTube or what?
It was on. Last I heard, it was on Hulu. It was on Hulu.
Oh, okay.
The last time I heard it was on Hulu.
I have Hulu. I can search for it.
I don't know if it's still there. I couldn't tell you.
I'll take a look.
Unfortunately, he passed away since, but he was planning to revamp the series, but unfortunately, that I worked with him on a movie actually. Okay. A movie he directed. David Carradine's last film.
What was the last film?
Autumn. It's called Autumn.
Oh.
And it was a zombie flick.
Oh, right.
Based on a book novel from a UK author of the name of David Moody.
Cool.
Awesome series. If you have a chance, check it out. Really good. Anyways, the 70s porn star was going to be with us. Right? Greg, what's his last name? Greg. Oh my God. Greg and Dana.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
From what's the show they did? The Hellier.
Yeah, from Hellier. They were going to come out. They were going to come out and be a part of it.
Yeah.
Of course, because Dana, she has ties here to, her before she reached out and met Greg. She was a girly ghost hunter, and she had that girly ghost hunting TV show here. Anyways, they were going to come up and be a part of it, and
Justin was a part of that too, right?
Girly ghost hunters, yeah.
So you can make fun of him because he's not here to defend himself.
He was one of the stunt ghosts.
Oh, was he?
Stunt ghosts.
He was always in the background, but he was never there.
Yeah.
Do you hear that?
What is that?
You see some weird guy lurking in the background.
Justin.
That's Justin. Hey, is his mic working?
Yeah.
His mic's not working. I can't hear him.
Justin, we're live in 3 seconds. It's not working. Classic.
Yeah, unfortunately, that didn't. That would have been great if we were
Yeah,
able
it would
to
have
pull
been
that off.
amazing if you
If,
pulled that off. Yeah,
That would have been
that would have
awesome.
been
unfortunately,
very cool, for sure.
I tried to get another good friend of ours to come up, Keith Age, but he was busy, unfortunately. I don't know if you're.
Well,
familiar with
there's
Keith
always
Age.
2022, Steve. When all this COVID nonsense is behind us and life is starting to get back to normal, you can always go back to the drawing board and kick it off again.
I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait.
And we'll have Gareth come up here.
Huh?
We'll have Gareth come up here and be a guest. We'll like drop him from the ceiling on suspension wires.
Dude.
Well, if you do that, you got to play the Mission Impossible theme.
We will.
No, seriously, we'll do a live on location, and Gareth can be a part of it.
Yeah, I'd come up if you're going to do like a conference. I'd fly up and hang with you guys. Sure.
I'd love to do it. I'd really love to do it. I think we keep saying it, but I'd love to. And fuck COVID.
It's got to that part already on the show, right?
Yeah. Sick of this COVID bullshit. Enough already.
So much opportunities, but we can't do shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we could do this, but this isn't the same.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not the same when you could slur to someone in person.
Mm-hmm.
Well, come on. You love to stir the pot. You love to open a few cans of worms, and you can't. It's better when you're in the same studio, same environment.
It is better to if you're doing like a radio show or a podcast or whatever. It's better if you're all in the same room. Because you can key off each other.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing an audio podcast and you're in the same room, you can see the look on their face.
Yeah.
You know when to jump in, when to pull back, when they're going to say something. You get a better vibe. While you can still do all that on Skype and stuff, but it never works as well.
No, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, and plus if you have a live audience.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it just it brings a whole new dimension to doing this. Having a live audience, having people, who are truly interested in, and wanting to ask questions. Can I ask a question? By all means, go for it, man. And of course,
where's the bar?
Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is we had another mic set up in the audience, so if somebody had a question, they could go up to the mic and ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
That's
perfect. Yeah.
You can't get that sort of vibe doing this. I mean, you can get people calling the show and ask questions.
Yeah.
Or crank call you. I've got a demon in my purse.
Is that your cue?
I've got a little black leprechaun in my,
Yeah. Exactly.
Has Gareth heard that demon purse one?
Is that wait? You're not joking? That really happened?
Okay, listen to this, Gareth.
Okay, I have recordings of evil angels going in my purse, unzipping it and everything, and snorting and growling and all. And I recorded tapes when I didn't understand.
Now you all must.
Okay, when I understand.
So this is a caller.
No, keep playing it. Let them hear the full thing.
Okay, well, it's gonna have to start from the beginning then. But I got the second part. Let me play the second part.
Is this on your show or
yeah?
This is someone who called into our show when we were on BTR. Okay. I think it was BTR, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was BTR.
Okay, hold on. I'll play the second one.
VC went something like a talkie growled like a cartoon. It went and then there was some chant like on Rosemary Baby, and then something solo and like. And all of that. And so I let my good friend, I called Mom, listen to it. She said, I don't watch pictures like that. And so I've been recording down through the years, various recordings. I accidentally recorded them walking along beside me. And they was breathing like that. And walk.
Yeah, that's it. God. So yeah, that's some of the callers that we had in the past.
Well, that's the thing, man. When you open the gates like that, you're rolling the dice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we loved it.
You can get like a mental case calling in, or somebody who's like,
Oh,
you don't know.
Dude, that's not the half of it. We had our own version of JC call up the show.
Mr. Bell, let me tell you right now.
Yeah.
You were working with the devil, Mr. Bell.
Yeah. We literally he would recite verses from the Bible and saying we're doing the devil's work.
Yeah. Because I do you guys are invited, by the way. I do a live stream every Friday night, the Mindset Howl.
Yeah.
And I open it up and I put a link in so people can join. And last week I had a guy, I even told him, I said, dude, you look like an extra from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He showed up, was like, holy fuck.
Oh, you gotta love it. Classic flick. Classic.
Medication time.
There's not enough medication for us here.
A lady called in last week,
mm-hmm.
and she was in silhouette, and she was talking, and I said to her, I said, okay, seriously now, all joking aside, blink twice if you're being held hostage.
Did she blink twice?
No, she started laughing, but it was bizarre. We get to, but no, I hear you. You get some characters when you open the floodgates. You can get gold, like some.
Even some of the guests that we had on the show.
Oh man,
yeah.
Like some of the guests, like
we've had some interesting guests.
It's really hard to stay quiet and not, say this is bullshit.
Yeah,
it really is. It's just.
I've noticed that too with a lot of the I remember when Art Bell used to do the show when Coast to Coast was good before that imbecile George Norrie took over.
Oh God, yeah.
And he would have someone on, and the guy was obviously out of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
And Art would be like, you could tell that he was like, I really want to tell this guy that he's out of his mind, but you got to be gracious with the guest.
But at the same time, though, you could tell Art would play up with it though too.
Yeah, he would ask.
He would literally play into it and look. Yeah. This is entertaining. The folks are going to love this. Let's keep it going.
And it is. It's pure entertainment. That's all it is. But it can be very difficult. I mean, if there's someone you agree with, then it's great. If there's someone you're not sure of, it could go either way. It could be great. But if you have someone on and you know from the get-go this guy is full of shit, that can be a challenge.
Very much so. We're going to take a break here. Time to refuel, refresh. Yeah. We'll be back and keep this going. I know we were going to talk about some stuff, and I'm sure we will as the second half goes. But so far, so good. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching us here on YouTube. You're listening and watching Nocturnal Frequency Radio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks.
Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davies, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
Was out. You hear that? Guys, over here. Again, that wailing noise. Look, what's that? What's that? There's something fucking moving over there. You see that? You saw that, right? It was fucking white.
Nocturnal Frequency Radio with your hosts, Steve and Alex.
This is Keith Page, and you're listening to Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Enjoy.
good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be around this wild, wacky, and sometimes disturbing world of ours. Yes, that's the intro to the Mindset Podcast, a weekly attempt to open eyes and shedding light on what's really going on in the world, all done by ripping apart the media madness that masquerades as news. Join me, Gareth Davies, every Sunday on the Mindset Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting services such as iTunes, Stitcher, and so on. Or you can go directly to the main Mindset website. That's www.mindsetcentral.com. Check out the Mindset Podcast. Bring your curiosity, your opinions, and a sense of humor. And remember that some worldviews are stranger than others.
And welcome back to Nocturnal Frequency Radio here on the New Visions Radio Network, and of course simulcasting on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us this evening. And of course, we got our good friend Gareth Davies of the Mindset Podcast with us.
Mindset Central Podcast.
Hey. No, it's Mindset Podcast.
Is it?
That's the name of the podcast, but it is located at mindsetcentral.com. So you're both right. You're both
Central.
Right. You're both right.
It's central.
It's South Central. South Central LA.
Centralized.
It's regulated.
It's regulated. I would like to request that some of the people, if not all of the people that are listening on New Visions, fire up their web browser and head over to youtube.com/nocturnal frequency. And then you can see us in person, yapping away, talking about all manner of crazy bullshit. And it's very entertaining. So get over there.
YouTube, folks, YouTubes. So, talking about craziness, and I mean, what were we talking about before we went for break here again?
Yeah, we were wrapping up we were wrapping up a Highgate vampire discussion.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were wrapping that up. No, we were talking about strange calls, in the show and stuff like that. I'm come on. There must be something that you've had happen on your show there, Gareth. Something really weird.
There's
crazy.
So I currently do two podcasts. I do the Mindset Podcast and I do a paranormal podcast called Paratalk, both of which can be found at mindsetcentral.com. And what's on one of the Paratalks, I got an EVP. While we were recording the show. Now, while we were recording the show, we heard nothing. Nothing at all. Just normal, we just recorded it. We thought, well, that's that. There you go. And when I played back the recording to edit it and get it all cleaned up and add the music and all that good stuff, I heard some very kind of creepy, demonic laughter. In the background. It was like like that. So that was kind of strange. In fact, I could probably you want me to play that? Let me see if I can find it.
Go for it.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute while I dig this out.
He digs out of the mindset archives. The archives of the mindset.
I should be able to find it fairly quickly. Let me see.
What about you, Alex? What's been the strangest thing, since we've been broadcasting? What's been some of the strangest things that you've...
You mean aside from the Columbo interview?
Yeah, outside that, yeah.
No, but when we had Richard on the last time, I mean, this wasn't caught, obviously. It wasn't during the live show, but apparently you guys both...
Oh, yes.
You both said that...
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So it's working. So I found it. If you want to play it now, I can wait.
Yeah, just give me... let me finish the story and we can play it.
Okay, go ahead.
So essentially what happened was during break, I had gotten up to go outside, and Richard, I think it was Richard who spotted it, something on my chair, like someone. After
I
left?
didn't see it. I mean, I don't know what he was talking about. I technically did not see it.
Okay, so Richard's the one who saw it, and he basically said he saw an apparition sitting on my chair after I left.
But yeah, okay. I mean, I didn't see anything. I mean, I was on Skype with him, but whatever. I don't know.
But that would explain.
Strange.
That would explain a lot.
What did you think about that, Alex? Did you think that like something was really there, or he just mistook something, or hallucinating?
Well, the
or
problem is that the quality of the camera and the lighting in here isn't great. So it could have very well been
reflection or something.
Could have been that. It could have been just like Skype acting up. I mean, it happens sometimes. You know, pictures get granulated, get pixelated, and you see things that aren't really there. Right? It could have been something like that. I don't know.
You know, it's funny that you're saying that because and this isn't show related, but I've talked quite often about strange things happening here at my house.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I told you a couple of the latest ones. One of them was my wife and I were woken up at I think it was like 4:00 in the morning. And this big crash coming from downstairs, and I immediately jumped out of the bed, and I'm like running. What the fuck was that, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was loud. It sounded like a window smashed or something down in the main level. I'm like, what the hell? Go downstairs. Everything's fine. Can't figure it out. We're looking all over the place. Checked the whole house. Nothing was unusual. All the doors are locked. All the windows are fine. Da 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 da. And what it turned out to be is we have this old rocking chair in the living room that I just recently refurbished and refinished. And in it, we had my wife had this big bag of Christmas chocolates and stuff that we got over the Christmas holiday. Excuse me. And it was sitting in the chair, and it had been sitting there for like 3 months. Or no, 3 weeks, not 3 months, 3 weeks. And it had fallen off the chair and smashed onto the floor. And this bag it's heavy. It's got a lot of chocolate in it, a lot of candy, whatever else. It got a lot of stuff. And when it hit the floor, it made a loud noise. Now, what's weird, it's been sitting on that rocking chair for 3 freaking weeks. How come it took that long to fall off? It just didn't make any sense. And I mean, literally, if you to make it fall off, you'd have to rock the chair.
Yeah, the chair would have to tip forward.
The chair would have to tip forward or backwards or whatever.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make any sense. And just the other day, I'd come home from work. My wife's on the afternoon, so she's not home in the evenings. But I came home. I go upstairs for a shower. When I got home, I turned. I had the light in the living room on downstairs. I go in for a shower, finish my shower, come downstairs, go downstairs, and it's pitch black. The light's out. What the hell, man? I'm positive I turned the light on. Positive.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came back downstairs, it was pitch black. None of the lights were on.
Like, what did you check the switch? Had the switch been flipped?
No, nothing was touched. It was fine. It was weird.
So, do you think? I mean, I know over the years lots of weird things have happened sporadically, not consistently, but sporadically. But is it pointing you in the direction that something might be going on?
Oh, definitely. Although it might be subtle, I definitely, with everything that's gone on in here, it just there definitely has to be something going on. A matter of what it is, I don't know. Yeah. And do I really want to investigate my own home? I don't know. I don't know if I want to come up with the answers to that one, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. I mean, you don't want to. That's a can of worms you might not want to open.
Exactly. So,
That's
I mean,
true.
one of these days I might say, the hell with it and try it, but what am I going to get? That's the scary part. Go ahead, Gareth. You got that thing loaded up. That's it.
So so you're gonna hear me talking, and and as I'm talking in the background, you'll hear a kind of like a kind of weird laugh in the background.
Okay.
So and as I said, when we were recording the show, we heard nothing. It was only when I played back the recording afterwards that I catch this, and I snipped out this little bit of audio. So here we go. I think that we agree on a lot of things.
Yeah, I heard it.
You guys hear that?
I heard it. Right off the bat.
Play it again. Play one more time. I think that we agree on a lot of things.
Yep.
Right in the background.
If you send that to me, I could not necessarily tweak it, but run it through the wavelength.
Yeah, I can email it to you. Now there was I was going to say there was a kind of follow-up to this, but I don't know if it was a follow-up because the follow-up happened maybe 2 years after this.
Okay.
And nothing was recorded or anything, but it happened to me and I remember it. So let me give you. So I'm sitting exactly where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
And in front of me I have my computer, my monitors and keyboard and all that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sitting. I don't have headphones on, and I'm sitting here working on something.
Mm-hmm.
And directly behind. Imagine if I'm saying this and two glowing eyes appear. Directly behind me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here on the keyboard. Type of. No music on. Nothing. Silent room. Behind me, I hear a growl.
So you heard it real time.
Real time.
Mm-hmm.
Right behind me. And I went cold. and I sat there and I was like, fuck. And very slowly.
You should look behind you.
I slowly turned around and there was nothing there.
No.
Nothing.
So what do you think? What are your thoughts? Like,
I don't know, dude, but I definitely heard it. Mm-hmm. I heard the right behind me.
And did you have your headphones on? I can't remember if you said you had them on.
No headphones, nothing. No headphones, no music playing, nothing. Just sitting here in front of my computer. Directly behind me, I heard the growl, and I was like, and I went. I remember. Like sometimes when you're sleeping, you fall asleep in the car and you wake up and you get all cold.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the feeling. I got all cold. I'm like, oh shit! And I remember I'm turning real slow, and I look and there's nothing there. But I would swear on a fucking Bible. I would swear at a court of law that I heard it. I heard the growl.
So we have a comment on YouTube. You may know this. Exploring with Seth.
Oh, they're joining us. There you go.
So he's been on since the beginning, but he says, "Are you sure it wasn't your wife?"
It might have been my wife. Yeah. It might have been. No. There was nobody in the room with me. There was nobody at all. I was completely alone. Didn't have headphones on. Wasn't playing music. I was just sitting here in silence in front of my computer, like be surfing the web or doing some shit. I don't even remember. And right behind me, right in there, right behind me, right behind me. Exactly. And I was like, oh fuck. And I turned and there was nothing there.
Now I gotta ask you, Gareth, did you have to change your Depends?
Yes, I did. No, it wasn't quite that bad, but it was unnerving. It was a little jolt to the system, right? Because you don't expect that.
Well, yeah, of course.
Just,
especially when you're focused on, like, if you're like doing something on your computer or whatever it may be, and all of a sudden that happens.
I would swear that I heard it, but could I have been hallucinating? Sure, I guess. I guess I could have imagined it. I don't think I did. But I could have,
How many 408s did you have?
0. I wasn't bringing no alcohol, no drugs, nothing. I was completely sober.
That's strange.
So
Yeah, very strange.
did you feel the actual growl? Because when something like that, like
Now
it's a
that you
bass.
mention it, I did feel it.
Right. So that's what I was getting at. Because if it's hallucinatory, you hear it, but you don't necessarily feel it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a vibrate. Like when a loud sound and you don't only hear it, but you feel it, the the little vibration.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I did. It was directly behind me.
Yeah.
Interesting. Have you had any other incidents there at all? No, nothing. Just the evil laugh and the growl.
Just the just the evil laugh in the recording that I played you, and then the growl. And the growl happened like maybe 2 years after the recording. And it when these things happen, you're not expecting. It's It's never in your mind. It's like, and that's what makes it even more terrible, because it just happens and you're like, oh fuck, out of the blue.
Well, then I'm going to have to return the favor and say, do you think you have something going on there, Al? Gareth?
You see, I mean, were it not for what I heard and that EVP, I would 100% say no.
Yeah.
I would say no.
But there's that little inkling saying, okay, possibly, maybe there is something going on.
Maybe. Even though I say maybe, I still want to say no, because other than those two instances, that's it.
Until the next growl, right?
Yeah. until the next one. Right. There's been nothing.
Until there's another growl.
Until the next one, yeah. But
wait, that Alien Con badge thing is swinging back and forth.
Is it really? Is it really?
No.
So maybe you should have like a digital recorder going off, like recording
24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I hesitate to say doing it in your own home, because.
Yeah, I you know what? I've thought about that. Is like, and I think we touched on this a while ago when we did a show about EVPs. Is that because EVPs do work? You will get them sooner or later. They will happen.
Yeah.
But there's always a danger that if you do it in your own house and you get some evidence, your house might not be as comfortable as it was before you got the evidence.
Well, not only that. I mean, when you look at doing EVP work, you're essentially making contact in a similar fashion as you were to a Ouija board. You're essentially opening yourself. Look at the big thumbs up there from Alex.
Ouija. Does Alex like the Ouija?
I got 3 of them.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Dude, when you get your kid, you can play the Ouija board with them.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't think my wife will be too happy about that.
I don't think so, dude. You might be in fucking divorce courts if you pull that shit.
I might have to come stay with you, Steve.
Oh God. Look, I don't know if that'll go off too well with that. Here comes Alex with his Ouija boards.
Ouija board.
My neighbors. That's fucking weird bald guy. He's got 3 Ouija boards.
And that's not including the weird bald guy that lives there already.
You know what you should do? You should open up Alex, you should open up your own service.
I should.
Alex's ghost deterrent Ouija board sessions.
So it's like those late night call-in shows. You know what I mean? Where you charge $1.99 for the first minute, and then or 99 cents for the first minute, and $1.99 every subsequent minute.
Yeah, what's the word? Spiritual guidance.
Yeah, spiritual guidance.
Yeah. You need help? Call me. I'm Alex. I got 3 Ouija boards. 3. Count them. 3.
Call me now.
If one of them doesn't say anything, the other 2 will for sure.
Yep.
Here's what I want to ask you two guys, because I haven't spoken to you in a while. Have you seen the Surviving Death documentaries on Netflix?
I have.
Yeah, Alex has. I haven't started them yet. No.
And what did you think, Alex?
I thought it was actually really good.
I agree.
The story of that one lady.
Now,
what?
It's the 40 Creek talking.
That's probably it too. But the one story about that one lady who had drowned and was basically clinically dead for like over 30 minutes, and then
so
that kind of freaked me out. Not freaked me out, but it kind of, I mean, how if you really think about it, if your heart stops, you're not breathing for 30 minutes, and you don't get brain damage, you know what I mean? That in itself is fantastic. But the things that she was relating after the fact, I mean, all of the stories are pretty good. I enjoyed that show.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was really good because most shows done like that are very much kind of poo-pooing the idea.
Yeah.
They look at it with a very skeptical view, whereas this show did not. This show was very kind of open to the fact that consciousness does survive.
Well, they didn't throw in their 2 cents.
Yeah.
They kind of let the people who they interviewed tell their stories and just sort of like play along with that. It's kind of like what Steve and I do when we have guests on that we may or may not agree with. We let them, exactly. We'll let them talk. Even though we may not agree with their concept or what they're talking about, it doesn't matter, because just because we don't agree with them doesn't mean that we're right. All right. So we'll let them speak their mind, speak whatever they have to say. And then after the fact, after the show, Steve and I may talk to each other saying, well, you know what? We didn't agree with this, whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, we'll let them say their piece.
Yeah.
Seriously, let's be a little more honest about it, how we are afterwards talking about it.
That guy was fucked up.
That guy was fucking crazy, man. Like, seriously, you really believe that shit? No. I mean, let's be honest. Come on. Some of the stories we've heard on this show.
There have been some instances, yes.
Oh, there's been a lot.
There's been some instances where we had.
Folks, that's not to say that we don't believe it. No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying is that there's been a lot of stories that we've had to, I don't want to say endure, but that we've listened to that really.
What you should say is, I don't want to say endure, but endure.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's endured.
Yeah, after 13 years, we've heard our shares of stories, right? So
beyond,
and some of them have been really out there.
Oh, beyond out there.
Yeah.
The way that I break it down, because I've thought about this recently, because I recently I visited a local UFO group here in LA, and I talked to a lot of people there, and I filmed a bunch of interviews. I recorded a bunch of interviews with them,
and they
yeah, sure,
cool.
I talked to somebody and I said, hey, do you mind if I film this? And 9 times out of 10, they said yes. Once in a while, someone would say no, and then I'd film them anyway. No, I'm kidding. No, and then I'd say film them. But a lot of the people would tell me stuff, and in the back of my mind, I would immediately think, well, this guy's a mental case. This guy's out of his fucking mind. But I started, when I was driving away from the meeting, I started to try and kind of like, trying to categorize what's crazy and what's not, because most of the time that kind of feeling, whereas you instinctively say, well, you're crazy, is because they're saying something that doesn't fit into your worldview.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Everyone has like a bubble, like on how they perceive reality to function. And if somebody says something that doesn't fit in your bubble, you will instinctively dismiss it. Even if it's true, you'll say nope. And you guys as paranormal researchers, you've probably ran into this too. When you talk to somebody who doesn't believe in ghosts, and you try to explain it to them, and before you even get a word out, they're already dismissing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way. I mean,
you can tell by the way they roll their eyes.
They roll their eyes. You're out of your mind. Get the fuck out of my face. You're crazy.
Yeah,
they won't even give it a moment's thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like when you go in to investigate somebody's home. They're having some strange shit happening in their home, and okay, are you more than willing to accept what we might find or what we may not find? Oh yeah, no problem. Okay, great. So you come to the conclusion and say, look, there's nothing here. This is everything's very explainable. Here's how this is this,
They
and
don't like
they don't accept it. No, I don't believe that. Don't believe that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the categories that I came up with is when you speak to somebody like this, there's basically like 3 categories that people fall into.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one, which is also the most despicable, is that they're lying to you.
Mm-hmm.
They know they're lying to you, and they're intentionally deceiving you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
The next one is what they're describing, the experience that happened to them, absolutely did not happen, but they believe it did.
Yeah. So they've
Right.
essentially
Convince themselves.
convinced themselves after
Yes.
years of saying the same
Sure.
story over and over and over again.
To them,
Bang.
it's real.
It's reality. It's reality.
But in reality, what they're saying
not.
did not happen.
Yeah.
But in their head, it did. That's number 2.
Yeah.
And then the most intriguing of all is number 3. They're telling the truth.
Mm. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to kind of, and it's very difficult to kind of, when somebody's telling you one of these stories, it's very difficult. You have to place what they're telling you into one of those boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Box 1, 2, or 3, right? It's true. It's true to them, but it didn't really happen. Or they're just a piece of shit bullshit artist.
Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it can be a challenge to find out which box it goes into. And that was just me thinking, because talking to these people, I talked to like 6 or 7 people, and not all of them. I didn't get the crazy vibe from all of them, but a sizable percentage I did get the crazy vibe from. But then I started thinking, well, how many actually are crazy, and how many are telling the truth, and I'm crazy because I can't perceive what they're telling them, because they might be perceiving a level of reality that I'm not privy to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So in other words, they're telling me something that's outrageous, that's outlandish, that sounds crazy to me, but it's true. What they're describing really did happen, and they're telling the truth. I just can't get my head around it because it's not part of my worldview.
Yeah, it doesn't happen to you, so therefore it's hard for you to comprehend.
I can't grasp it.
Yeah.
But they're telling the truth. It really did happen, and they're being honest. That's the hardest one to get your head around. The other 2, the bullshit artist and the delusional fucked up in the head person, you can hang with those people. You're like, okay, I get it. You're a liar or you're delusional. But it's when somebody tells you the truth,
Mm-hmm.
you have to change yourself to fit their truth, not the other way around.
Yeah.
You have to change your mind. You have to look with better eyes than what you currently look out of.
In this day and age, that's very tough.
So we have a question for you guys.
What's that?
This is going back to the growling sounds you heard behind you or stuff like that. So that Ron asked, do you start to question your own sanity when stuff like that happens?
No. And the reason I don't is because it happens so infrequently. If I was hearing growls every 20 minutes, I would start to think that I was something wasn't right.
I'm laying off the 408s.
I'm not going to drink anymore. You know what I mean? But it's because it was so infrequent. It's highly unlikely that I'm losing my mind. It's possible, but it's highly unlikely. Whereas if this was happening every day or 2, then yeah, the likelihood of me losing my shit increases significantly.
Can you imagine giving somebody, their own show, and all the content is them simply relaying their experience as they're losing their mind?
Oh, fuck.
Great.
That'd be kind of
would
intriguing.
Would that be one fucked up podcast?
That'd be kind of intriguing to see.
It would be intriguing because
to see the decline.
But you look at people who have mental issues that spend a lifetime in an institution or whatever else because they have all sorts of conditions. But I remember, and I'm sure you guys have heard this a few times, they're not really crazy. They really are like hearing people talk to them.
Sure.
I've said that before in the past.
I was just going to say that. What if imagine if you're a sane person, but suddenly you wake up one morning
and somebody's talking to you,
and you can perceive 2 levels of reality, right?
That would drive you insane.
Like another dimension.
Yeah, that would drive you insane.
Yeah. Well, no, it might. It would.
Well, you
everything that you said.
Yeah.
Would be perceived by others
as crazy.
You are crazy,
right? But then the way you behave, because if you didn't experience this before, you kind of know what the established quote unquote norm is, and then you start hearing all these voices, and you question your own sanity. I've said this before in the past shows as well, Gareth, where I question whether people who hear voices or who see things that others can't. Who's to say that they're not legitimately hearing voices and they're not legitimately seeing things? And
totally agree. Because
their filters sort of like snapped or stopped working, and all of a sudden they're seeing all these things that we can't. But because
maybe their filter started working.
Right. Well, whichever way you want to put it. But the point is that they started seeing things that before they didn't. So they know from past experience that that's not the established norm. So now they're doubting themselves, they're questioning themselves, and other people are telling them, no, it's not true. That person's not there because we can't see it.
They don't see them.
Right. So now you're like, it's going to drive you. And I know this is a bad terminology, but it's going to literally drive you crazy. Because you're the only one, or you think you're the only one who could see something that no one else can.
Right. No, I agree with you completely. Absolutely.
And at the same time, you want to throw this in there. You have all these people who claim to be psychic and medium or empaths or whatever that are telling you that people are talking to them and telling them stuff.
Right.
And again, you sit there and go, really? Really?
Well,
you have to tread lightly with it. You really do. You really do have to tread lightly on that with that aspect, because I'm not saying it's all bullshit. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I'll tell you, a great percentage of it is.
Well, let me throw this into the mix, because and Alex will get this because he's seen the show Surviving Death. There's 2 episodes in that show in regard to mediumship. There's mental mediumship and then physical mediumship. And they break it up over 2 episodes. And there's one with a Norwegian medium. And she'd go into trance, and her spirit guides would come through and start doing, and one was, Timmy, I'm Timmy. My name is Timmy.
I remember that.
Remember Timmy?
Yeah.
Timmy would come on, hello everybody, I'm Timmy, and all this, and then, hello my friends, how are, and all this stuff, right?
Yep.
And I was watching this, and all I could think of was, I could totally do that.
Yep.
You could totally do that.
I could totally do that.
Have you given it a shot yet?
I could do it, dude. I mean, I'm good with voices. I could totally do that, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But here's the thing. I would be 100% making shit up, right? I'd be sitting there going through oh no, this is Timmy and all this bullshit, and just making it up as I go along. But the feeling I have is that if I was to do that, I would get shit right. And the reason I bring this up is because many years ago, I became fascinated with the tarot cards. And I started doing readings for people with tarot cards, right? And I swear to you, when I would do a reading for someone, 100% I was making it up. I was just fucking bullshitting my heart out. Just whatever came into my head, I was just like, yeah, whatever, you're just throwing the cards. but you would be amazed by how many people will be like, "Oh my God,
Well, yeah,
how did you know that?"
because they're putting their trust in you.
Oh, that's amazing. Fuck, you're good. And I remember being confused because people were telling me that I was getting shit right, but in my mind, I'm just making this shit up. I'm just fucking winging it. But I was getting it right.
I've had a
But it
scenario.
was-
Do you see
but
the
was
point I'm
it?
making?
Yeah. But was it a generic right?
I don't know. It's like I was getting things in my head that I thought I was imagining or just making up,
Yeah.
right? And and at the time I would do it, and I go, "Look at this! I just made all that shit up. Look at this crazy bitch. You believe me, right? Like it's like a joke, right?"
Yeah.
But they were buying it. They were like, "Oh my God!" And I'm thinking this. It's the same thing with mediums. When they go into the trance and they're like, I am Zoltar from the 8th dimension or whatever this, you know what I mean? And they're doing all this channeling shit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're making it up. But what if the making it up part is that they're tapping into something and getting the information?
Yeah.
So you're
You
saying
see what I mean?
essentially,
Yeah.
yeah. So essentially, they're tapping into something that is entirely real.
Right. But even though it's a goof,
It's a
Right.
goof, but they are actually tapping into something.
unintentionally maybe.
Unintentional.
Because
So-
I have a feeling
Mhm.
that if let's just say I went to visit you guys and you got some of your friends around and you said, "Hey dude, this guy Gareth, he's a trance medium. I'm not even fucking joking, he's amazing." Right? And I sat down and I started going, "I am Thomas from," doing all this bullshit and started making stuff up. What are the odds that I would get it right? Some of the
Exactly.
time.
Well, the odds technically should be very
creating
little.
energy. You're creating energy that's tapping into another
Something.
energy, and yeah, I don't know. That's yeah.
It's an
Like,
interesting
yes.
idea, don't you think?
It
It's
is.
an
It is.
interest-
It
it's an
is.
interesting idea.
It is.
Like
very
I'm
interesting.
legitimately making it up. Like 100. If you would have asked me, I'm bullshitting. I'm fucking pulling this shit out of the air. But what if I was getting it right? You know?
I've had an instance like that happen to me, where I was like just talking to a friend of mine, and you know what? You'll get those moments when you get dazed, your vision slightly blurs, you're just kind of far off in the distance.
Yeah.
I had that happen as I was talking to my friend, and we were having this conversation, and the things I was telling her, I was kind of half conscious of what I was saying to her, but apparently, and then Steve's getting a makeover there. His demon
It's
there.
like, I have a flashlight too, but it's like it's not very powerful. It's like
Yeah,
you can barely see the light on it.
you can see up his nostrils.
I think I'm having an episode, guys.
Yeah,
Jeez, look at this.
Wait a sec. Hold on.
We're gonna have people,
I'm
you're
getting.
gonna give
I'm
give
getting a
viewers
vision here.
epileptic seizures if you
I'm-
keep doing that shit.
yeah, no kidding.
I'm getting a vision here. Wait a sec. Hold on. Alex is gonna have it. Wait, he already had a drink. Hold on. No.
Oh, there you go.
Sorry. Go ahead. Oh man, I think I'm getting dizzy on that.
Yeah, I wonder why. You're giving yourself epilepsy.
Epilepsy.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, it's a trip. Huh?
Things got quiet all of a sudden.
Everyone's got flashlights. What the hell is going on over there? You're power outages out there or something?
It's funny because when we started doing the documentary, we all picked up tactical flashlights.
Did you really?
Yeah. So Steve and I ended up getting the same exact
Same one.
unbeknownst to each other. We both show up, like we go to do one of the shoots. I'm like, hey, look, Steve, I bought this new flashlight. He goes, that's the same one I have.
Yeah,
See,
I
now
gotta run to the restroom. We'll be right back.
Yeah. You see that is total friggin' brotherhood there, man. Total
no kidding.
brotherhood.
Talk about thinking along the same lines.
Yeah. You go. That's not the only time though. The original arm we bought for our mics.
Yes.
We bought the same
this
damn
one.
arm. Huh?
Not this one, and not the one you have now.
No. The one that
Yeah.
you got originally.
Well, and also the fact that we both had the same mic again. We both had the Blue Yeti. just different color.
I got it because you said you liked your mic. So that, but I mean the Yeti though.
Yeah, we both had the Yeti, just different color, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this mic, yeah, for sure. This mic, I love this mic.
Yeah, it's a good mic. I really, really like it. It does a good job. Yeah, I mean, it's strange. You know, the possibility of people being able to tap into a, I don't know, something that obviously is not physical. And being able to tap in and hearing voices or people talking to them or trying to make some sort of communication and use them as a conduit. Yeah. You know, and relaying, you know, whatever they need to relay to the person that you're sort of communicating with.
Yeah,
you know,
and as I was saying before, I mean,
mediumship with or for, sorry.
Yeah, and I've had that happen to me too, right? Like it's I've had a couple of instances where you get in that sort of dazed state where you're not really there, but you are. You know what you're saying, but you're kind of like whatever's flowing to your mind, you're just spewing out. And as I was saying before, like I had this conversation with a friend of mine, and as we were having this conversation, I was telling her things that apparently were true that I had no idea. Like, you know, like when you're having a conversation, it's kind of hard to explain. Like if you and I, Steve, or you and I, Gareth, were having a conversation, and I start saying things about your life that I by no rights should know.
You couldn't possibly know, but
exactly.
You're getting it right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things of that nature,
like
right?
It's like I was saying earlier, it's like when I was doing the tarot thing, I was 100% making shit up. There's no way it was real. But it was, people were saying, fuck, he's good. This guy's getting it right. And how is that possible? Because if I was to do a reading and then walk away and someone says, and you guys started, I would be like, that was all bullshit. I just made that shit up. But they were getting it right. So what's going on?
Well, you know, it's like the old theory that you make something up and it becomes a reality. You know, I mean, we've heard that, you know, many times in the past where somebody literally thinks of something, makes something up, and it literally becomes a reality. You know, and it makes you wonder that, you know,
it's like tapping into something.
Well, you know, it's humans are not only a curious creature, obviously, but they also like to believe things that are tangible, things that they can touch, you know, use their senses to sort of understand. But they don't believe what they can't see or experience through the senses. Well, that like is I said,
there. If it doesn't fit, in their worldview, it's dismissed almost instantly.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Let me throw this out there. I noticed this earlier, and you guys were very gracious to let me rant my fucking bullshit. But earlier on at the beginning of the show, when I was talking about the secret space program and Mars and all that stuff, I did get the vibe, and you guys were cool. You didn't say anything, but I got the vibe that you were thinking, well, this is obviously fucking a bunch of bullshit. You know, I'm not gonna say anything, but this is probably a bunch of nonsense, right? Because what I was saying does not fit in your worldview as to how you perceive reality functioning.
No, I would no. That's not what I. No, not at all. Maybe Alex. Alex
you nailed it on the head, Gareth.
Alex is in a. He's not. He doesn't buy into conspiracies.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head, Gareth.
But not necessarily a conspiracy.
But you know what? You could very well be right, and if you are, so be it. But I'm the type of guy that when it comes to stuff like that, I need to see proof. You know, that's just the way I am.
You don't want to argue with a guy who drinks 408, okay?
408.
805, I mean.
805. See, Steve's already slurring.
805.
408's a younger cousin.
Firestone Walker. Firestone Walker. It makes him.
I mean, I have literally fallen in love with this beer. It's like all I drink now.
Dude, you gotta try some of the barrel aged shit.
Oh man, I love this shit. It's just like the nectar of the gods.
I wouldn't doubt it if they make a barrel aged 805.
Barrel aged, my God.
Oh yeah, I'm not kidding you, man. Barrel aged stuff is killer. It's great shit. Barrel aged and bourbon barrels.
I love it.
Oh God, if you're a bourbon fan, Alex, you like bourbon?
I do. Yeah.
Oh fuck, man. Then don't give it to Alex. You can never see it then.
I like bourbon.
Bourbon's good. It's very smooth. I like it.
Yeah. Depends.
Yeah, of course it depends. Like
it depends on what bourbon, but because some of
it's like whiskey. It depends on the whiskey, right?
Well, yeah. Exactly. Oh God, we're almost we're gonna have to end the radio portion. I don't know. You guys willing to go a little longer, or?
I was gonna ask you, is like when the radio dies, the YouTube should come to life.
Yeah, we usually do a little after hours.
I could do a ball, maybe 15, 20 minutes.
You could do a ballpark. What?
Ballpark? What?
A ballpark. How quick can you do a ballpark?
What the hell are you talking about?
I don't know.
You swallowing balls now? What?
No. See, now this is the problem. See, this is what we were talking about before. It's what your mind's perceiving when I'm saying. It's not real.
So what you're saying is that you're not real.
No, what I said. Like you thought I said something about ballpark.
I thought I heard you say you're gurgling some balls.
Dude, come on.
Okay, we're live on the radio here. You shouldn't be talking that way. No.
Oh, I can never stopped us before.
I'm just kidding. Testing out the theory that look at what you hear and what you perceive is not always true.
Yeah, that's true. Yep, I agree.
Right?
Absolutely.
Is it true, Alex?
It's true. I agree.
Okay, so we'll end the radio aspect, the live broadcast. I want to thank everybody who tuned in on the live broadcast on New Visions Radio Network. We are continuing a little bit longer here on the YouTube channel, so come on over to YouTube and watch the live stream, the after hours portion of the radio show. So until next, wait a sec. Before we leave, Alex, we got some guests coming up. You want to talk about those quickly?
Yeah, next Sunday we have Dr. Matus coming on to discuss the book that he wrote about destigmatizing the paranormal. And that should be an interesting show. Unfortunately, he's only going to be on for the first hour, but I mean, do tune into that show. It's going to be really interesting.
And then
on the 14th, we got Dr. Justin Sledge coming on to talk about the academic portion of the paranormal, not the paranormal, like the occult, alchemy,
esoteric,
like anything that has to do with the esoteric, like alchemy magic, and all that kind of stuff.
Magic, alchemy, all that kind of, all that wonderful stuff. And of course, we're on what is it, March 4th or 8th? I can't remember.
14th is coming on.
No. The week before, the 7th?
7th?
Yeah, we have Bishop Plato.
Yes, that's right.
Coming on.
Yep.
Talk about exorcisms and demonic presences and stuff like that. Infestations and fun stuff like that. And then further on, what else? We got another guest.
We do. I want to solidify it first before I announce it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
True. Cool. So we got a slew of guests coming on.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're going full force with having some guests on the show again. We go through these
phases.
These phases where we do guest, and it's always nice to take a break and
dry spell.
And well, not necessarily dry spell. It's always nice to just wind down and just sort of
bullshit.
Hang out with friends.
Yeah. Hang out and just, I know everyone tends to like to hear.
Yeah, baby.
The outside the box sort of look at what we're saying isn't real. We're just fucking with your minds right now.
Yeah.
No, it's real.
So
It's all real.
okay. So, anyways, we're gonna end things here on New Visions. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And once again, you can watch us on YouTube. All right. Until next Sunday, take care, everyone. You've listened to Nocturnal Frequency Radio live on the New Visions Radio Network.
Take care, everyone.
Good evening.
Good night.
All right. So that is
the After Hours show. Now we can really swear.
Now you can let your hair down.
Yeah, if we had hair.
Well, we do. It's not visible.
We have hair. It's just in the wrong places.
You need to put the night vision goggles on to see our hair.
Yeah.
Goggles. Yeah,
Electron microscope.
I got a DVD I want to show Steve. I know, Alex, you're not into the movies, huh?
Not as much as you guys.
Let's check that shit out. Boom.
Dark Shadows. Classic.
Shadows.
But you know what? Alex, you like Dark Shadows?
I have watched a bit of it a long time ago. I didn't get a chance to watch all of it though.
So this is like was it the 50th anniversary collector's edition? It's six DVDs with like a selection of the show and everything on six DVDs. So I bought this and I was like, you know what? I want the complete series. So I went on Amazon. The complete series is like $400 for like.
Oh wow!
It's like a million DVDs for the complete series. So I was like, fuck, $400 is a lot of money. So I just went. I went onto a torrent site and I downloaded the complete series.
Well, yeah.
So
I mean,
I have every single episode of Dark Shadows now, and it's like thousands of episodes.
You know, I like Dark Shadows, but you know, when it comes to sort of, you know, supernatural sort of serials, if you will, I always liked, and I've mentioned this on the show a few times, Strange Paradise.
I'm not familiar with that one.
You know, it was a Canadian production, and it was based upon on a Caribbean island, and basically it dives into magic and the occult and all that kind of stuff. Really intriguing show.
I'm looking it up right now. I just see the Wikipedia article.
Yeah, I mean,
Strange Paradise, Canadian occult supernatural soap opera. 195 episodes. Well, it was released in the United States in 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's interesting. It's a little harder to get your fingers on, but I think there's some. I think there's some episodes
been released.
I don't know if it was officially ever released, but you can get some episodes. I think on YouTube.
Okay.
YouTube, I think, has some episodes, full episodes there somewhere. Intriguing show. I was always a big fan of it when it was running.
Yeah. A lot of these weird shows, like, you know, if you were a little kid in the 70s or the 80s, there was so many of these little gems, these little shows that were on TV that would plant seeds. You know, so that when you grew up, you were into this shit. It's the same with me. Yeah, it's the same with me. When I was a kid, there were certain shows that would come on TV that I would be hypnotized. You know, and the feeling never went away, even though when you grow up into an adult, that's still in your head. You know, you still want that stuff. You're into it. You know, you love it.
Well, I mean, you know. I already had an interest in it, but I mean, yeah, I'll admit, you know, there was a lot of television and movies, films that really pushed me towards wanting to, you know, there's got to be something to this. I want to look into it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm not going to lie, it pushed me towards that way, and you know,
sure,
I eventually, you know, got into doing it. So
yeah. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you get a glimpse that there's more to this the five sense reality. There's something else going on. Even if you're just introduced via fiction, it leads you down a path, and then those TV shows might lead you to finding books and reading books, and then onto documentaries, and the next thing you know, you're in someone's basement at 3 a.m. with a freaking EMF reader, you know.
Well, I mean, before I did all that, I did a lot of research, and primarily I did a lot of research on audio and how audio affects us,
Mm-hmm.
how different levels, different frequencies affect the human body.
All right.
I did all sorts of research there, and infrasound, and there was so much that I looked in, did research in before I actually attempted to do any EVP work. EVP work has probably been the primary source of my interest, I think, within the paranormal. Don't get me wrong, I like a lot of other aspects, but let's face it, some of the most successful evidence, if you will, out there is audio.
Yeah, EVP has always fascinated me too. It's always been completely intriguing.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that anybody can try, and you absolutely will get results. It might not be immediately. It might take a while, but it will happen eventually, right? If you're lucky, it might happen in a day or two. If you're just a normal person, it might take months before you get anything.
You can get it the very first time, but the thing is,
yeah.
you really have to listen. You have to listen, because some of them are just they hide so well.
Yeah.
Within an audio clip that it'll run right by you and you wouldn't even notice. I mean, I've had to review clips several times before I've ever heard anything in it. So
yeah.
That's not all the time, but sometimes, some of the most important ones have been, they're hiding in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, bang! Oh, what the hell? Like I said, the one famous clip there, the singing, the little girl singing. I had no idea it was sitting right there.
Well, you guys have been lucky though, because I know that you've caught some Class A EVPs, some stuff that's like very, very clear and concise. And that's the stuff that just fucking that shit blows your mind when you hear stuff like that. Because there's no ambiguity. It's like that 100% is a human voice. And when we were recording this, there was nothing there.
No, and I mean, trying to find something. Look there is so much, examples out there. I don't want to bash anything, but there's so many examples out there where people will say, "Look I've got an intelligent response."
Yeah.
And when you listen to the audio clip, it's like, no, it doesn't sound like there's any response. I don't hear a response. And they force feed you what the response is, and of course you're front loaded somebody's.
They front load,
yeah. So you try to keep that out of your mind when you listen to it for the very first time, and it's kind of hard because it's front loaded in your memory. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of hard. But 9 out of 10 times, an example is just absolutely terrible. I just, people are trying to make something out of nothing.
What's amazing, though, is, I mean, to get clarity and to understand what they're saying can sometimes be a challenge. And obviously, you can get front loaded. Mm. But the stuff that's not, you can't deny it, is when you hear something that is clearly a human voice, and then you can define the sex, whether it's a man or a woman, and even if it's a child. And you can very clearly define man, woman, child. Yep. Human voice. You might not understand what they're saying, but the fact that you're picking up a very clear human sound is compelling.
Now, Alex, if I send something to you, can you play it? Oh,
He's on mute. You're on mute.
you're on mute.
Sorry. I said yes. If you send it to me right now, I can, yeah.
Sorry. Okay. I'll do that. I'll get right on it, sir.
Get on it right now.
Quickly. Hurry up. Speed. Speed is of the essence.
Well, where should I send it?
Send me my Gmail. That's fine.
Oh, my Gmail. Goddamn Gmail.
Yeah.
So, but okay. So keep going on. Like, about EVPs. Like.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective, it's a real phenomena. It's not BS. It's not make believe. It's real. You record with an audio recorder, and you will pick up voices that you do not hear with your ears. You can ask a question to thin air, get no response, which is normal, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you play back the recording later, sometimes you get a response.
Well, absolutely, and an intelligent one, per se. It's really hard to sort what is intelligent. It's number one. It's really hard at times to pull out an EVP, but not all the time. And the ones that aren't hard, that are clear as a bell, you it's right there, bang,
yeah,
right. But if you have to try every 6 ways a Sunday to filter the shit out of it, to boost it up or whatever else, and you're not having any success with it, you know what? Give it up. Move on. Move on. Because chances are you're not going to, that's just, it's not going to happen.
So what do you guys have had, in many respects, enormous success with EVPs. You've collected some phenomenal clips. And I'm going to ask you a question, and I completely understand if you don't have an answer, but maybe you can speculate. But what do you think is going on here? What do you think is happening when you capture these audio clips?
Okay. So, anyways, I sent it to you, Alex.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to come through.
Okay. Huh?
I'm waiting for it to come through.
Okay. Judging on experience and the research that I've done, I would simply have to say that 9 out of 10 times, it's really tough to pull out an intelligent response. If you get an intelligent response, then we're talking about an entirely different realm.
Sure. Okay, so I agree that's very rare. Very rare.
9 out of 10 times, I would have to say that it is an audio imprint. An audio imprint, an echo, or some sort of glitch in, and I would say I wholeheartedly believe within the infrasound realm.
Mm-hmm. Infrasound. What do you mean by that?
Infrasound, patching into the infrasound, into the frequency of infrasound. That's where 9 out of 10 times, that's where you're going to get, because you got to remember, we as humans can't hear infrasound. We need devices to, and even so you look at germanium crystals, for instance. It gives you a frequency on that level. It would literally drive you mad, literally drive you insane, and make you sick.
So do you think, you're saying audibly with our ears, we cannot hear this frequency of sound, right?
No. So, example is being a dog whistle.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
Okay.
But is there a because you can blow a dog whistle into a recorder and play back the tape or digital file or whatever and still not hear it.
You won't hear it, no.
Exactly. So what's going on here? Whereas you can ask a question, you know, I got my I got my little digital recorder. I'm like, Ghost Man, tell me about whatever the fuck, and you hold it out. And then you play it back, beep, 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 beep. And you're, Ghost Man, tell me about what. And then you hear a voice saying, you know, I'm the devil or whatever. So what's the translation? Because when you set it into the air, your ears hear nothing. But when you play it back on the device, you hear it. So something is being recorded on here, and something's being translated so your ears can pick it up. Because, like I said, if I were to blow a dog whistle into this thing and then play it back, I still wouldn't hear it. So what's going on?
Okay, so generally infrasound is a low frequency sound. So you're looking at anywhere from roughly about 20 hertz to less than 0.1 hertz, roughly somewhere around there. Now you're looking at almost a 20 hertz difference.
Okay.
So you got to remember, a dog whistle will probably be probably about the 20 hertz, roughly. Okay. Actually, no, it'd probably be closer down to the 1. Whereas these voices are probably closer to the 20 hertz.
Okay.
So that's why you're not hearing the dog whistle when you play it back on a recorder. Because those recorders can't patch in, those recorders can't patch in.
But why am I hearing back the EVP on the recorder when I didn't hear it when I was doing the thing?
Because it's at a different hertz. It's at a different level.
So is there some kind of translation going on with the recorder that allows me to hear it when I play it back?
Well, yeah, because digital basically any electronics that record can patch into infrasound, can patch into low frequency sound.
Sure. But when you play it back, how are you hearing it if you're not hearing it in real life?
Oh, you mean, how's it being translated?
It's being converted in some way so that you can hear it, right? That's the point I'm making.
The only thing I can think of is that the response it doesn't go through the microphone itself per se, but it sort of like ingrains itself into the actual mechanics of the device.
So there's some kind of supernatural force at work here.
That's the only thing.
It's bypassing the microphone.
When you look at it, okay, so I'll give you an example.
Okay.
You can produce infrasound on simple, say, subwoofers, for instance.
All right.
Can produce infrasound.
Okay.
And usually commercial, any subwoofer will. I'm trying to think of what else can. Trying to give it sort of a.
Right, but it doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what produces it or what can reproduce it. The fact that we can't hear it is the deal here.
Well, that's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so the best way to sort of explain it is to look into what's called infrasonics. It's really tough to explain, but when you look at infrasonic research, I'd say look at that, and it will tell you, it will explain to you how things can be sort of produced on audio through these devices that weren't audible when they were being recorded. But but for some reason they're patched in at a new frequency where we can hear it. It's like when you look at research and experimentation done with germanium crystals.
Okay.
Are you familiar with germanium crystals?
No.
Germanium crystals, like a lot of things, can produce sound
Through vibration or something.
through vibration. And again, we're looking at infrasound, so low frequency sounds.
Okay.
All right, but like a dog whistle, if you were to translate the sound to the human ear, it would literally make us sick.
Mm-hmm.
We would not be we're not made to handle that sort of frequency of sound.
Right.
Just like a dog has a hard time with the frequency coming from the dog whistle.
Mm-hmm.
But you hear it. The dog can hear it, but how come we can't hear it?
Right.
Right. So you look at that translation. Okay. Well, how do you translate what the dog's hearing so we can hear it? So that's what you're asking, right?
Yeah. There's some kind of transformation of the sound going on.
Yeah.
So that when we play back the recording on the device, we can hear it, whereas when the recording was made, we could not hear it.
Okay, so humans can hear into infrasound, but only.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. Just hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so generally 20 hertz, roughly about 20 hertz is where is considered the normal low frequency limit of where humans can hear.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that realm. And then we could probably take it down to maybe 12 hertz, roughly 14 hertz, somewhere around there is when we start to lose the ability to hear. All right.
Okay.
It's when you get into the, below the 12 or whatever, 12 hertz. It's okay. That realm we can't hear. It's like, forget it.
Right.
All right. So that's where you go, okay, well, that's what needs to be translated into a form where humans can hear. Now, this is what I mean. I literally can't, explain it. I'm terrible at explaining this.
Okay.
This is what I say. Look at infrasonic research is the best way to sort of give you an idea of what I'm trying to say, or how to explain why these machines.
Let me ask you this, because I mean, Alex said something intriguing a little earlier. Is that when you're getting these spirit voices or whatever they are on your recorder, is the microphone mechanism picking it up, or is it appearing on the tape or the digital recorder or some other means?
Okay, so you're going to get all sorts of theories out there, but it's simply I believe it's the recorder itself is picking these. It is picking it up. It is.
Right. So the way I'm thinking is that if the microphone is picking it up and recording it, it's a frequency that we can't hear, but the microphone is getting it.
Yeah. Then why didn't we hear it in real time, right?
No. It might be way beyond our frequency to hear it, right? In other words, there are sounds going on around us right now.
We have,
millions of sounds. We're being bombarded by them, but because our ears are not attuned to them, we're oblivious. We hear nothing, even though it's slamming us. Right?
But yet
we hear nothing.
But yet the body will respond.
Right. But if your recorder is going, and the microphone is the sound going into the micro, we don't hear it, but the microphone is picking it up, and then it's being recorded on the recorder, right? But we don't hear it. But then when we go to a recorder, we go, oh, look at this, and we hit play, and then we hear it. some kind of translation is going on in here, which translates the sound that the mic picks up that we can't hear, but then outputs it via the speaker at a frequency that we can hear. Do you see what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's going on?
Okay. So to explain. Okay.
I think we need to take this up another time. This is a whole topic for another show.
It really is.
Let me play the EVP that you sent over, and then because I got to get to bed soon, I got to wake up early to go to work. So let me play this EVP, and then maybe we can take this up again another time.
Okay.
You guys hear that clearly?
I heard like a singing.
Yeah,
thing.
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
I'll play it again.
Play it again.
Yep.
Play it again.
That was the ghost.
Yeah.
Sounds like a woman's voice, either singing or speaking in a kind of rhythmic way.
Like a rhyme of some sort.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there were some thoughts that it might be French. I don't know. I can't make it out.
I can see that.
You know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you know, you hear you literally hear a voice. I mean, it may not be as clear as day, but you hear a voice.
Sure.
You know,
100%. Yeah.
You know,
A female voice too.
Yeah.
So we can hear it. We can tell it's human. We can tell it's female. We can't necessarily tell what it's saying, but the fact that we can tell that it's a human female voice, that's a huge feat in itself.
Exactly.
You know. Amazing.
And that was picked up by a video camera actually. High eight video camera. So
That's
not even, you know, analog, somewhat analog still. I mean, it was tape.
Videotape, yeah.
So there you go.
Fascinating stuff. Yeah, I think Alex is right. This deems this like a serious conversation or discussion by itself because it's truly fascinating.
We could do a bonus show.
Yeah,
okay. Let's do it. Let's do it. You know, and start it off with that, talking about infrasound and EVPs and all that wonderful stuff.
Because I mean, I want to get. I mean, I know it's real. Mm-hmm. I know it's there's no fakery. There's no bullshit. This is real, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we have to try and get our head around, or at least come up with some theories as to what's causing it, what's really going on here. And obviously, we don't have all the answers, but we can play the speculation game and come up with some good ideas.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely,
because this is 100% real. There's no question. 100%. This is legit.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But we do not know what the mechanism behind it is.
No, and you're just going to. It's just, you know, as of right now, it's all theory based still.
Yeah, totally.
We don't know. I mean, we simply don't know where this is coming. Is it is it the voice of dead loved ones? We don't know. Is it a totally different dimension?
Who knows?
We don't know. We just based on theory. So,
yep.
Once again, we'll start it up from the beginning. Gareth, I want to thank you for joining us, man.
Anytime, man. Anytime you want me on, give me a call.
Yeah,
I love talking to you guys. I was saying, Alex, I do a live stream every Friday night. The Friday Night Howl. You're both welcome anytime. If you're up, I know it might be a little late for you guys, but if you're available, swing on by.
Awesome. All right, guys, take care, and we'll see you next Sunday night.
Take care, everyone. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Later.
Bye-bye.